On paper, Canada's choice of the F-35 Lightning II looks like a foregone conclusion, a fifth-generation stealth fighter, packed with sensors, backed by America, and already flying with many NATO allies. What could possibly compete with that? Yet for years, another aircraft quietly lingered in the background, raising an uncomfortable question in defense circles. Was the Saab Gripen actually a better fit for Canada? To understand this debate, you have to look beyond prestige and into Canada's reality. Canada is not a country preparing for massive expeditionary wars halfway around the world. Its biggest military challenge is geography. A vast Arctic frontier, endless coastlines, long distances between air bases, brutal weather, intercepting unidentified aircraft over the north, defending sovereignty rather than projecting power. This is where the Gripen enters the story. The Saab Gripen was designed by Sweden with a similar mindset. Sweden is not a superpower. It needed a fighter that could survive against advanced enemies while operating from short, icy runways, highways, and dispersed bases. Gripen is built to take off from rough strips, refuel quickly, and be back in the air within minutes. In Arctic-style conditions, this matters a lot. The F-35, by contrast, is a different beast. It is a stealth-first aircraft, optimized to penetrate dense enemy air defenses, gather intelligence, and strike high-value targets. For countries planning to fight peer adversaries far from home, this makes perfect sense. But for Canada's day-to-day missions, NORAD patrols, Arctic intercepts, sovereignty enforcement, stealth is not always the deciding factor. Cost is where the debate becomes sharper. The F-35 is expensive, not just to buy, but to operate. Maintenance is complex. Spare parts depend heavily on U.S.-controlled supply chains. Software updates, mission data files, and even certain repairs require American approval. Supporters argue this is the price of cutting-edge technology. Critics argue it reduces sovereignty. Gripen, on the other hand, is one of the cheapest modern fighters to operate. Its flight hour cost is significantly lower. It was designed for small air forces with limited budgets, yet still offers advanced radar, electronic warfare systems, and modern weapons. For a country like Canada, where defense budgets are often politically sensitive, this difference matters over decades. Then there's the issue of independence. Canada has always balanced close cooperation with the United States against the desire for strategic autonomy. With the F-35, Canada becomes deeply integrated into an American-led system. That integration brings advantages, but also limitations. Gripen offered something unusual: full access to software, the ability to integrate non-U.S. weapons, and greater control over upgrades. In simple terms, Canada would have owned the jet more completely. Industrial benefits also played a role in the debate. Supporters of the F-35 pointed to Canadian companies already involved in the global F-35 supply chain. Gripen supporters countered with promises of guaranteed domestic assembly, technology transfer, and long-term industrial sovereignty. The choice was not just about jets, but about what kind of aerospace industry Canada wanted in the future. So why didn't Gripen win? Because defense decisions are never purely technical. The F-35 represents political alignment. Choosing it signals commitment to the United States and NATO's future air power strategy. It ensures seamless interoperability with allies in any major conflict. It avoids friction with Washington. In an era of rising global tensions, that reassurance carries enormous weight. Gripen, despite its strengths, challenged that status quo. It asked Canada to prioritize national needs over alliance symbolism. It asked uncomfortable questions about cost, sovereignty, and mission focus. And while it may have been a smarter practical choice for many Canadian missions, it was a riskier political one. In the end, this debate reveals something bigger than aircraft specifications. It reveals Canada's identity dilemma. Is Canada primarily a continental defender of the Arctic or a global contributor to coalition warfare?
Is sovereignty measured in independence or in integration with allies? The Gripen versus F-35 question forces us to confront those choices directly. And perhaps that's why the Gripen still haunts the conversation, not because it was perfect, but because it fit Canada's geography, budget, and daily reality in a way that made people uncomfortable. The F-35 may be the most advanced fighter Canada has ever flown, but the question remains, echoing quietly beneath the roar of jet engines over the Arctic skies. Did Canada choose the most powerful aircraft or the most appropriate one?